Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Juicy Bullet Film Reviews. Thaniel has a mouthful of Reese's Pieces.
Hello.
Today, if you can't tell from the thumbnail, um, we are reviewing a movie called Circle, um,
Yes,
which was directed by Aaron Hahn and Mario. Thaniel tells me it's pronounced Michonne. Um, it looks
probably.
funky
Yeah.
to me. So, I'm also dyslexic, so I have troubles, especially when you put S's right next to C's. It looks weird to me. It's just it's weird. I don't know. So this was a movie that was actually one that Thaniel wanted to do. It wasn't recommended to us by anyone. We had The Circle recommended to us, which
It,
ironically is the one I thought we were doing. But I had
yeah.
to.
No, I'm not dyslexic, but I accidentally added a the to it.
So I almost watched the wrong movie. I was getting upset because I
Yeah.
couldn't find it. I have notes. I don't think Thaniel does. Um,
No. I don't want. Then again, I just watched it. I
yeah,
mean, I just
Thaniel like
rewatched it.
just watched it pretty much. I watched it like a week or two ago when we were supposed to film this review. Like, but yeah, things got messed up, and you know how it is, scheduling and time and yada yada yada. It's a pain in the ass sometimes. Y'all know how it goes. I'm sure, probably, maybe, I don't know. So, just a couple things I want to touch on really quick. This movie was kind of weird. In like, I found it a little strange.
Mm.
It was an interesting concept, very interesting concept, but it just it felt really weird to me. The idea that the whole premise behind it was strange to me because I didn't understand it. I didn't know what the fuck was going on until literally the very end of the movie.
Yeah. See, unlike the platform,
Yeah,
the first movie review we
which
did,
tells you the
like
premise
that,
immediately.
you find out immediately. This one you it's literally you're left to wonder throughout the entire movie.
Yep, you're plopped right into it with no understanding of what the hell's going on around you, and you don't even know where you are until the end of the film. Because the whole film, except for the end scene, is shot in one room. Like it's all in one
Well,
room.
so you there is one part of the movie where they name a landmark and they also mention that they're in LA.
Yes,
So near like halfway through the movie you figure out that they're in Los Angeles.
yes. That everybody was in this room, in the circle, was all in Los Angeles before they ended up in that room. But they had no recollection of how they ended up in that room. As far as I can remember. Again, I watched the movie like a week ago.
No, you're right.
Okay,
You're right.
I thought I was probably right. Because it bothered me at first when I started watching the movie. Then as it went on, I started to understand why they did that. Um, so my first note is the opening is very strange. Because it's literally just a bunch of people standing in a circle, but nobody is like, I guess lucid is
Awake.
the word. Like everybody
Mm-hmm.
seems to be unconscious. They're all just staring into the center of the room as they stand in this circle, which I found very odd. And then there's just like one woman who suddenly becomes conscious and tries to like walk away. She tries to touch someone next to her, and both times she tries to do that thing, there's just a loud buzzing noise,
Mm-hmm.
um, which obviously frightens her to stand back in her little place that she was put onto because she also tried to step off of it and it buzzed. Um, so it was very
Which at
strange
that
for me.
point in the movie, which at that point in the movie, once everyone wakes up, they're all trying to figure out the rules to the game,
Yes,
so
they're
to
trying to
speak.
figure out what's going on. What is this? What's happening? What are we doing? What's going on? It's like me every time I jump into a voice chat. It's like, what are we doing? Where are
Not
we?
wrong.
Who are you people and where's my horse?
I took your horse.
God damn it, not again. That's the third time this week. So, my second note was that I noticed that there are all sorts of different people from like all different walks of life in this circle.
hmm
So you got like a couple Asian people, you got a couple like Latino people, you got some black people, obviously white people. Like you got people from all over the fucking like all sorts of ethnicities. You got gay people, straight people, the
Children,
yep,
pregnant women.
children.
One person
Yep,
only had one arm.
yep. You got criminals, lawyers, like
Police,
yeah, police officers, doctors.
priests.
Yeah, there was a priest. Yeah, and some other people. Yeah, most of the characters in this, like if you look at the cast list, uh, the character names are literally like man number one, woman number four.
Yeah,
Like
so that's another thing about this movie. Most
yeah,
there are so
you learn like
we're not
four
really going to
people's
say
names.
names. Yeah, we're not going to say names because the names that were said they got killed immediately after they said their name.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so basically no one really said their name, and when they did say their name, two of them were lying about their name.
No, there were the two that lied about being married to each other.
That's what it was. Okay.
Yeah. Uh, which doesn't make any sense if you don't know what the concept is. Okay, so the concept is they're all standing in the circle. There's a thing in the center of the room, and they have to vote on who dies next. And once they all
About
cast
every
their
2 minutes.
vote, whoever has the most votes, they get shot by an orb that comes out of that fucking thing in the center of the room, and that person dies instantaneously. Um,
Like a little bolt of electricity.
so these two people lied about being married to each other in the hopes that nobody would want to kill one of them and like, oh, I don't want this man to watch his wife die or this woman to watch her husband die. Like nobody wants to fucking do that. Um, so it was in self-preservation they tried to screw everyone over, or they lied to everyone, which actually ended up backfiring on
Really
them.
bad.
Because like he was one of the people who said his name and she didn't know his name. She didn't remember when everybody asked her what his name was.
But we're getting too far in.
But anyway,
Let's start at the very
my
beginning.
next note is because obviously at this point it's still like the first 10 minutes of the movie, so I had no idea what the fuck was going
Mhm.
on. My next note is everyone had the same experience before landing here? Question mark. Because they were all talking about being stuck in traffic in LA. Like every single one of them was stuck in traffic in LA, which doesn't even seem weird. Like it's a normal occurrence in LA. So this ear itches really badly. But yeah, they all had the exact same experience of being stuck in traffic in LA, which I found interesting. Uh, let's see, what was it? I can't read my own writing. They they turned on the young guy quickly. Like
Yes,
the young
I'm
guy
actually
who was
happy.
trying to figure out what was going on, but he was also like straight up just like because this
He
young guy
was
was like, let's just kill off all the old people first.
he
Chronologically speaking, they're
was
the ones that are probably gonna die first anyway. And
so
yeah,
it's funny how it literally went from, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was like anywhere between like 50s and 60s,
mm-hmm.
like it was like 50s and 60s go first.
Yeah,
He literally made a list
yep,
of who would die in what order, and everyone was okay with it except
yep,
for the ones that were getting voted.
of course,
And then he went down and he was like, okay, people that are in their 40s.
mm-hmm.
And then the cop was like, I think anyone like who's 35 would have an issue with that.
Yeah.
And they were quick to vote that guy.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, In one moment, he had the entire room convinced to follow his plan. The next moment, they all voted him. Like,
So going back to the younger guy, so whenever he was having like his little list of
mhm,
people to die,
right.
the next old guy that came on his list was trying to. It's one of those things that kind of leaves you wonder because you really don't know. Either A, he was trying to say that he remembered what happened to him so he would stay alive, even though
Hmm.
he didn't,
Hmm.
or he actually did remember and he was about to remember something so crucial and then they killed him.
I mean, honestly, the way he was talking, it did sound like he was just trying to buy time.
I know, but like,
But it's
it's one.
still possible that he might have remembered something that was crucial and might have saved everyone else in the room.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they killed him immediately. Like as soon as he started
Yeah.
talking, they were like, "You're lying," and they killed him.
Can we talk about how quick they were to want to kill the child and the pregnant woman?
Oh yeah, yeah. They wanted to kill them again out of self preservation because they knew that when it comes down to like three or four people left, nobody's gonna vote to next to nobody's gonna vote to kill a child or a pregnant woman over, say, a middle aged man. Like, they're gonna kill that middle aged man before they kill a pregnant woman or a child. Um, and they know that, so they wanted to get them voted off as quickly as possible,
Mm-hmm.
so that they had a better chance. And the entire time, I'm like, come on, man, the pregnant woman counts as two. Like even in my head, I'm like, the pregnant woman should live. Like she she literally has the most potential because she has an unborn child. There's the
Mm-hmm.
most potential out of that person surviving. Um,
Which even with that though, that actually shows a lot of like they this movie. One of the reasons why it's one of my favorites is because they literally hit on a lot of stuff.
oh yeah,
Like
yeah.
the whole pregnant woman,
Yeah,
right to live, got a
it's
baby.
it's a movie that really makes you question morality.
Mm-hmm.
Like it it really makes you think. Like, wait a minute. Is this the way things should be? Like, is this the way we should view it? Um it's uh, it just shows that no one answer is always 100% correct. Um
Mm-hmm.
oops, damn it. I keep doing that. Because, like, even when they were talking about exactly what I just mentioned about how the pregnant woman has the most potential in the world, because unborn child, who knows? That child could grow up to, like, come up with a cure for cancer or some shit. But then other people were like, it could also grow up to be like, terrible. Like, it could grow up to be a serial killer. We don't
Yeah.
fucking know. We don't know this woman's background. We don't know if she's going to be a good mom. We don't know this. We don't know that. It's a lot of variables we don't know.
Man, when they were trying to figure out if the child was going to be good, I was like, oh god, she makes bees. We need to kill her.
Yeah, like, who are we to say whether a child is going to be born, like, be raised well or poorly, or like grow up to be good or evil? You don't know. That's part of the mystery of life. You don't know what's gonna happen. Nobody does.
So early on, you know, so the white cop, he pointed out someone who beat on his girlfriend. He was Latino,
Mm.
and you're liking this guy. He was like, okay, cool. He
Hmm.
actually knows, and the Latino ends up admitting to it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but what was disappointing later on, you find out that the white cop is racist as hell.
yeah, yeah.
It ultimately gets him killed.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Which I, I was actually kind of glad when he died.
Oh yeah, no, me too. Me too. Me
uh,
too.
I've never wanted a cop to die more than when he went on that tirade just before he died. Like, never wanted anybody to die more than in that moment. Let me see. What's my next note? Uh, I like that we really have no idea what's going on. I like the mystery. I like that we
Mm-hmm.
don't know what's going on. We're just as clueless as the characters in this film.
Like we could be in that very room.
Yeah, we don't even understand where we are. We don't know. We've seen nothing outside of this room in literally most of this film. Only like the last 40 ish, not even 40 seconds, I think. Like the last 20 to 30
Just
seconds of the movie. It's
maybe a
literally
minute.
the final scene, is the,
Yeah.
the only time you ever are outside of this room. So we, the viewer, are just as clueless as the characters within the film. Like Thaniel said, we could very well have just been a person standing in this circle. Um, yeah. And I don't remember what the fuck was happening when I wrote this, but I simply wrote, "This is super fucked up." Like, I don't remember
You're
exactly what was
probably
happening.
so. In my head, one of the two things could have happened. Probably the first one I'm going to say is probably what happened. You might either A, when the atheist spoke out in the crowd and he almost got voted off because he said that because
He
he was
happened to
told he
vote
was
or like ramble about how God doesn't exist in a room full of Christians
like every single one of them,
who literally had the power over whether he got to live or die.
and he didn't die. So it was
I
like
was
it was a tie
surprised.
between him and another girl who didn't say shit.
I was honestly surprised that she died and not him. I was so shocked when it panned back over there and he was still standing. Because even like
Now I
because they
do,
panned away when the person got
yeah,
shot, and in my head I was like, that was him. There's dead silence over there. He's not like he's dead. He has to be. And then it pans back over there, and he's like, then he looks down at her body and he starts talking again. And I'm like, that was clever. That was
and
clever.
then he dies 2 minutes
Like,
later.
yeah. He died very quickly afterwards. But in regards to like directing and storytelling, that was actually really clever with the way they did that.
Honestly, they did that.
Cut away,
They did
pan back later.
times.
Yeah, they did it a few times, and every time I was like, that was good. That was good. For a movie that was filmed almost exclusively in one room, the direction was actually very good. It was
There are
really,
some
really
really
good.
good movies. There are some really good movies that have only been filmed in one room. The first Saw movie, for instance.
I haven't been able to finish any of the Saw movies. I got about 20 minutes into the first Saw movie and I was like, this is ridiculous.
Well, that's because so in the first Saw movie, which we'll probably have to add it to the list now.
Yeah, I know
It
it
was
was all
literally
filmed
made.
in one room and it was made by a couple of film majors while they were still in school.
Yep.
And it was just like filmed in a warehouse that they rented down the street from their college campus.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, back to this movie.
that much I did know.
But no, and then the other thing I was thinking of that was messed up was when after he lived, and he was trying to the girl that was next to the other girl, he was trying to say that she did porn and
Hmm.
was trying to get her voted out,
Yeah.
and then found out that she was probably like a secretary that was sleeping with her boss who gave her boobs.
Yeah.
Um, then he died very quickly.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Um and the next note that I made, not only do I remember exactly when I wrote this note, but it's also something that I want to remark on because it's something that not a lot of films have been able to actually do for me personally. especially movies like this that are filmed in one room where you don't even know the fucking names of the characters. This movie made me genuinely sad. So
Oh,
it was, they were talking about voting off the little girl or the pregnant woman. And the little girl started crying because she was voted in like a tie with, I believe it was the dude like behind her and to the, like to her
the
right.
really old man.
Um and children are my weakness. All right. Like they're my weakness. Like whenever there's a child that's in pain, I immediately like I it hurts like really badly. Um so that made me super fucking sad. And like the pregnant woman was like trying to soothe the little girl. She was trying to make her feel, trying to make her feel better. She was trying to soothe her, telling her it's going to be okay. Um, and then again later, when the pregnant woman and the child were in a fucking tie, like I was like, oh no, come on, really?
They were in a toss. They were in a toss several times.
Like, come on, why, why do you do this? It upset me.
But, and here's the thing. Going off of that though, I don't know if he was like a lawyer. I think he was a businessman. But this dude was like the epitome of assholes.
Oh yeah, I know
The guy
exactly who you're fucking talking about.
that and the bald head dude,
Yeah,
with glasses.
yeah.
Both of them were
The one
dicks.
that said he had like 9 kids.
Yeah, no, I was happy when he died too.
Yeah, so was I. He was a fucking prick.
Because there were two people. There were several people, but so eventually in the movie they were like, okay, what if we have people who are willing to die?
That's actually one of my next notes.
Um, yeah, no. So right when the next oldest kid decided that he wanted to, sacrifice himself.
Mm-hmm.
Told everyone his name.
Yeah, he said he was like 16.
Yeah, he's 16.
Mm-hmm.
And right before he dies, the two people that I just mentioned called him by the wrong
Yes,
name
they did.
on purpose.
Yes, they did. And
Like, I was genuinely
I
angry.
hated them so much for that. And I know it's just a fucking movie. These are just characters in a movie, but seriously, I fucking hated them. It's like, no,
Which means they did a
no.
good which means they did a good
Exactly,
job.
they did. And I don't feel like, because I didn't recognize any of these people's faces. So these aren't like big budget actors. Like these very easily, and it literally felt like it was the premise. They just pulled random people off the fucking street. That's what it felt like. And they did a phenomenal job with it. Um, but my
Did
next
it.
note did actually have to do with the people who were willing to sacrifice themselves. My note, word for word, I love that the guy speaking no English sacked himself for the kid.
Yeah.
So there was one man in the room who only spoke Spanish. He didn't speak English. So they talked for a long time about voting him off. Um,
Thankfully they have an interpreter.
yes, but she ended up dying.
Yeah.
Um, and then there was a tie between the child and the pregnant woman, and this man who doesn't even speak English was just looking over at them, looking around the room, looking back at them, and then just stepped off of his circle. And he died instead of them. Didn't even speak a fucking lick of English, didn't understand anything, but he knew, he still had that instinct to save the kid. Save the kid, save the pregnant woman. I don't matter as much. Like, he was probably like a middle aged man anyway, but still, like, he still had that thought. Even though he didn't want to die, it was still, it's me or them. So
I mean, he
I'm
still
just
had
gonna,
kids
I'm just gonna
too,
leave.
and
Yeah, yeah, and he had children. He did specify, like he had a picture of his family in his wallet, and He talked about having, I believe it was two daughters or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
So
so yeah, he
there's one.
sacrificed himself for the child.
So before we get to the end of the discussion of the movie, which that right there was like really close to the end,
Mm-hmm.
there was one thing I really wanted to hit on
Oops.
was when they were fixing to vote off this. There was this woman that they kept on like harassing for like a few turns. She ended up being
I mean
a
the
lesbian with a
yeah. I
dog.
was just gonna ask if you were talking about the gay lady.
Yeah. Um, there was something I really liked about that scene when they were about to vote someone off,
Mm-hmm.
and then they ended up. I think it was the bald guy for the gay comment. No, it was one of them for the gay comment,
Yeah, I don't remember
and
exactly who it was, but
I think it was one of the ones I hated. But
mm-hmm.
anyway, there was a black man who said, and this is probably one of the best lines in the movie for me. My son is gay, and there's not a damn wrong thing about him.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I loved that line too. It was a fantastic line.
I did get floored that soon after that though, when they had that like it was like a 8-way tiebreaker,
Mm-hmm.
and then they just all died.
Oh yeah, yeah, because nobody voted.
Yeah,
Yeah, nobody voted, so everybody died. Yeah.
well, except for
Well,
the next the
yeah. The
guy who
the
did,
people who were tied, I think it was like a four or six way tie. I don't think it was eight,
and then there was
but it
this
was a really large number.
one, and then that one young guy that literally was like a. He was basically like, "Oh, I'll make sure that they're okay. I'll make sure that I'm talking
Mm-hmm.
about the pregnant." Like he was completely team innocent
Yeah. Yep.
throughout most of the movie,
Yeah. Yeah, he was.
and I say most.
Yeah, most because we're getting towards the end, so you're about to find out. But before we get to the end, the very, very end here, I have two notes left.
Okay.
But the last one that isn't the ending of the movie is the little girl broke my heart.
Mm.
Like right at the end when she was talking about how she was willing to die so that the baby could be born. Like that fucking broke me. Like I even just almost broke right now thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that got to me. It's this sweet little innocent girl. Just like, yeah, I'll do it for the baby. And
Damn it, I'm freaking out
it,
now.
it
Oh.
fucking broke me. Like, I feel no shame, okay? Fuck it. I feel no shame. I'm an emotional person, okay? And kids are my soft spot. Like, that fucking broke me. Um, but yeah, yeah. That that was fucking insane. And honestly, kind of courageous of the people who created this movie to make this movie the way they did. Like,
I agree.
because they very easily could have just been like, you know what, fuck it. All these people are the same race. We're not going to put racial tension in there. We're not going to put like homophobia in here. We're not going to put any of these criminals in here,
Religion.
like religion. We're not going to do anything controversial. But they did everything controversial. Like
Yeah, they really did.
every controversial point they could have hit, they did. And I
This is why I
respect
wanted
them
this,
very much for
and that's
doing
why I
that.
wanted to recommend the movie.
This
That
eye
is why I wanted to
specifically
recommend the
is the
movie.
one that's watering the most. It 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 was very very well done, honestly. For a movie that was filmed in one room with people that literally could have just been plucked off the street 10 minutes before they started rolling, like, they did a phenomenal job with it. And yes, timer, I see you down there with 33 seconds left, but we still got a couple minutes left of stuff to talk about. Um, yeah, the little girl fucking broke my heart. Now we can get to Team Innocent Man, who is like, yeah, no, when it comes, I'll just sacrifice myself for one of them. Yeah, yeah, we can talk about that asshole now. What do you have to
Mm.
say?
This dude. I mean, I feel like he should get Best Actor award out of that entire cast for that movie
Oh yeah, no, he did
because
do a phenomenal job.
he did everything that a methodical bastard
Yeah,
would do,
straight up serial
and I
killer
didn't
shit.
and I didn't expect it
No.
because like so he talked this guy actually talked almost the most
Hmm.
in this movie.
I believe he actually did have the most lines of dialogue of any character in the film.
Um, but the only time that he didn't talk is when the guy that was wanting to kill all the 50 and 6 year olds, he let that guy talk
Yes.
almost the entire time. And then when he died, he became the biggest talker.
Yes.
Um,
Which was
and
about
he was
15
like,
minutes into the movie, I think, by the way.
yeah, and he was trying to swing votes for Team Innocent the entire time. And like he was telling me, I was like, oh, I'm willing to die, but only until like everyone else is trying to vote these people off or dead. And it was just, it threw me off. And then like the moment where he was going to pretend like he was going to step off, and then I can't remember. He voted for. I think he voted. I think I can't remember. I
He
didn't.
initially voted for the pregnant woman.
That's right. And then the girl was too scared to vote.
Yeah. So he voted the little girl. And then the worst moment in the entire fucking film.
That honestly got me more teared up than.
The unborn child still counted. So he had to literally vote off an unborn fetus
Yeah.
or die. Those were his
Or both
options.
of them.
Oh yeah, both of them would have died if because unless the
Because it
baby
was going to die.
accidentally made movements in there to vote for him. But, the likelihood of that is slim to none. But
Yeah.
yeah, so he voted off a pregnant woman, a small child, and an unborn child by himself.
That threw me off.
Yeah, no, because throughout the whole film, I genuinely believed that he was going to let one of them live. I honestly did. Right up until they voted off the quiet guy. After they voted off the quiet guy, I was like, there's no way this guy is gonna fucking let one of these live. Because it cut
And
to like a
then
camera angle where it looked like directly into his eyes. I was like, no.
and then so throughout the movie, you had your hands straight, and they had arrows on the floor, and so you would turn your hand to the
Mm-hmm.
arrow
To
to
indicate where
choose.
you wanted to vote. And only you could see
So,
where your arrow was pointing.
so the
Yeah.
moment that you saw his hand move, it was done. Like I knew it was like
Yeah. Yeah.
it
No,
was shot.
it was yes. Oh fuck yeah. Subway. Anyway, yeah. I that man. He did a good job. Okay. The actor did a phenomenal job portraying the character. The character was a fucking bastard and I hate him for all eternity for what he did to those three people who didn't fucking deserve it. And then the ending of the movie. After he did that, he was dropped back down into Los Angeles. And this is where like 97% of the I feel like this is where 97% of the budget of the film was spent.
Yeah,
was in that final scene.
CGI
Yeah, where there's just like spaceships, alien spacecraft flying
all
all over the
over.
place. They're just fucking everywhere. Over the city. And then it suddenly clicks in you in like they were in a fucking spaceship. But it still leaves you questioning why.
See, me personally, I feel like it was one big old alien social experiment.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it felt like. Even throughout the entire movie, it felt like it was a social experiment. And they even talked about it. The characters in the
Yeah.
movie even talked about it. Um how like they were assuming that they were trying to figure out like what would we do if we were put in this situation?
So food for thought for the last bit of the movie, right? So he doesn't do a bit of talking at the end of the movie. It's
No.
mostly just like quotes and like voiceovers from the
Yep.
entire movie.
Yep.
When he walks out and he walks into that group of people, you got to keep in mind that each one of them came out of ship by themselves.
Yep.
There was a small child, there was a pregnant woman, there was a homeless man.
Yep.
Like, so
Which
you got
means
to think.
each ship went with a
Yeah.
different morality.
So you got to think, like,
Hmm.
what did the kid do? What did the kid do have to do to survive? Was the kid just as evil as that dude? Like, did everyone feel bad for that pregnant woman and not for that pregnant woman? I
Raises a
mean,
lot of questions.
like, was there one ship full of racists? Like, you know,
Yeah.
there could have been multiple situations.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a very very thought-provoking movie for how simple it is. Because it looks simple on the outside, but really there are a lot of very complex like undertones going on. Like there's because it really makes you question your morals. Um and for me as a very morally ambiguous person, I found myself jumping from one thing to the other. Like, you know what? Under
It
certain
makes you.
circumstances, I wouldn't do this, but under other circumstances, I would. Like, and even with the Latino guy who is like covered in tattoos, wearing a wife beater, I was like, I didn't want to just jump to judge him immediately, and I actually grew to start liking his character. And then the cop was like, "Hey, I arrested him. He was beating on his girlfriend." And at first, I was like, maybe the cop is just racist, and that's all this is. And then the Latino guy was like, "Yeah, and the bitch fucking deserved it." I was like, okay, bye.
Yeah.
Like, whatever, dude. like, okay, sure, you do you, bro. Um. Anyway, do we have anything else left? That in the old noggin that we want to talk about?
um. Question today, or not even question today. Just down in the comments, leave us some comments. Tell us how you felt about the review. What movies should we put on the review list?
Mm,
Um,
it's an ever expanding
now
list.
the next movie that we're probably gonna do is gonna be one that has already been recommended.
Mm. Where's my sheet? Wrong Missy.
Wrong Missy. Yes, it's kind of steering away from what we've already done because
Mm-hmm.
platform and circle were kind of like thought provoking, kind of
Yeah, like
effed up
thought-provoking
ones.
psychological thriller sorts of movies.
And the Nightmare Before Christmas was a holiday movie,
Mm-hmm.
so
A classic holiday movie, but
yes.
yeah,
So
and
good. Wrong
Wrong
Missy is
Missy is
also
a
a comedy
comedy.
with David Spade.
Oh, it has David Spade in it. Okay, I'm down. I'm
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
I'm immediately in. No questions asked. David Spade's on the cast list. Let's do this. Um.
Also down. So aside from what movies we should review, anyone who watches this and enjoy these, list your favorite Thanksgiving movie and list your favorite Christmas movie, and we will put those on the list for our Thanksgiving and our Christmas video.
There we go. You heard it here first, folks. That wasn't even a thought that had crossed. Oh, another thing that we want. Barely anybody's going to make it to the end of this video, so this is going to be, especially after listening to us ramble for the last couple of minutes. Uh, so I know that only people who actually really like watching these and really want more are going to hear what I'm about to say. We have been wanting to do a review on a Sean Connery movie, and we can't
Oh
think of
yes.
which one we want to do. So if anyone has one that they would like to recommend to us, that would be fantastic.
Because rest in peace, Sean Connery.
Yes, yes,
Sean Connery passed away this
and
past Halloween.
so did Alex Trebek. Actually, he just died recently too. The guy who did
Yeah, he
the
did.
Jeopardy man boy guy. A lot of people
Well,
dying, man.
that
But
was
yeah,
yeah,
Sean Connery
yeah. He was doing
movies.
a lot of stuff.
Sean Connery movies, ladies and gentlemen. Which one? Which one?
Because there's so many of them.
Oh, dude, he was in so much. But the one that always comes to mind is The Hunt for Red October. Always. That's the one that pops into my head when I think Sean Connery.
Extraordinary Gentlemen also pop into my mind,
Yeah,
and that
I've never
all the
seen
old
that
double oh
one.
007 movies.
I've seen like one scene from The Hunt for Red October, and it was literally the last scene. So it's the end of the movie. Is the only part of it that I've seen. The only thing I do know about the movie is that most of it is filmed in a submarine. That's all I got.
Yes.
But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this, hit the thumbs up
Always.
button. If you didn't like it or you didn't learn anything, go ahead and hit the thumbs down button. I don't give a shit. I don't think Daniel fucking gives a shit either. Subscribe if
Don't
you
forget
haven't
to
already.
subscribe. Don't.
Huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
I was gonna say subscribe.
Yep. And do not forget to ring the bell. That bell's not getting a lot of love lately. Uh, so ding the bell. If you've not dinged the bell before, ding it an odd number of times if you feel like you need to do it multiple times. If you've dinged it before, ding it an even number of times. It's very important. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time.